Hello, everyone. My name is Priya Patra, and I am back again. And as you all know, I am the Vice President Outreach of the PMI Mumbai chapter. And I'm your host for this session today. We also do have our second anchor chapter, Lanka, from PMI Czech Republic. Lanka, are you there? Okay, I think she is yet to join. We also have a third anchor chapter, which is South Africa, and Dr. Lynn Keys is here today. She is the president of PMI South Africa chapter. So, Lynn, would you want to say a few words?
Yes, thanks for the opportunity, Priya. It's great to be here. It's been an amazing journey since we were first invited to participate. Was it June or July in the book
It was
club?
in June. It was in June.
June, right. And since then, it's the development over the last few months has been fantastic. I mean, we've had many challenges to this type of collaboration, but the team continually meets the challenges. I mean, challenges in technology, the time of the presentations across the time zones, the different ways of working. If you can imagine bringing together so many different people with different approaches to working, planning, scheduling, the whole thing. The most interesting challenge, and I think the thing that has brought the most value is what we're achieving through bringing together these multiplicity of ideas on different key topics in project management to create critical conversations. And I will go so far as to say that the PMI chapter Xchange has become, in a sense, an open innovation for ideas on how to get the best from our projects in terms of leadership, strategy, and technical approach. And we can call, and we've done all of this through developing a cross-pollination of ideas to take project management to a level of high positive impact. So everyone, congratulations. It's been fantastic. I know this is the last one of the year, but we can't wait to get started in 2021.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Lynn. This really makes me so proud to have a partner like you and Lenka from PMI Czech Republic supporting in getting this program in the right track. And, and we also cannot wait for 2021 to come. This is the last event of the season. But yes, we are eagerly waiting for 2021. And thank you, Dr. Lynn, for all your support. We also have Pierre, and he will be co-hosting this event with me. Pierre, just say hi to everyone.
Everyone, I'm Pierre from PMI South Africa. Very glad to be here today.
Yeah. And today, as you all know, this is a collaboration of all PMI chapters who are on this platform. And we are so happy to welcome PMI Zimbabwe chapter today, along with New Zealand, Phoenix, Czech Republic, South Africa, Netherlands, Sri Lanka, South Florida, United Kingdom, and of course, Mumbai. Yes, the list is long. And I think we have 10 chapters on this platform today. We also have had registrations from around 25 countries, which is really overwhelming. So thank you everyone for your support and joining in such large numbers. So thank you for joining. Do let us know from where you have joined in. Please go to the menti.com, www.menti.com. Right there on your screen, the code is there, 7602932. Please say hello to each other and continue networking. And really, we have people joining in from the United States to New Zealand. We have really battled all time zones, all barriers across continents, and everyone in between. So thank you everyone for this warm response. While you take the poll, I will go ahead and talk about some working agreements. Let us know from where you have joined in by taking the poll, which you're doing right now. Please, if you have a question, please post on the Q&A window. Pierre and me, we will be tracking the Q&A window only. So please do not type on the chat window because it is difficult to manage so many windows. And if please do take the feedback. This is a link to the feedback. You will have that right on your chat window. Pierre is going to paste that on the chat window. Or you could just take out your smartphone, be smart, and just scan this QR code to take the feedback at the end of the session. This meeting has been recorded. Swati, I hope it has been recorded. So it has been recorded. So if you are uncomfortable in any ways, you may choose not to attend, but we really want you to attend. So please continue. Keep all your noise-making devices on silent so that we can, proceed, listen, concentrate on what our panelists have to say. Everyone in this event are speaking on their own individual capacity. Our views do not represent our organization's views in any ways. A disclaimer. So thank you very much for joining in. Yes, I usually have this slide on. It's about the PMI chapter Xchange initiative. But today I'm not going to talk about it at all because I'm going to talk to people who have made this happen. Our mentors, our supporters, and we are fortunate to have some of them on this event today. With this, I'll hand over to Joe. He is an active promoter of this program. And through his radio show, we have evangelized PMI chapter exchange across the globe. Joe, would you want to say a few words about this program?
And thank you, everybody, for having me here today. And what a celebration it is of project management around the world to have all of these chapters present. I'm out in Phoenix, Arizona in the United States. I'm a member of the PMI Phoenix chapter. And as Priya mentioned, I host a radio show podcast called Project Management Office Hours. Priya was a guest of mine back in October, and we've had guests on the show from Australia, Canada, the UK. We have a guest coming up next year from Zambia, Honduras, Germany, and several other countries. And the beauty of that show and my discussion with Priya was the diversity of thought. Even though we are all within project management, within our own countries and geographies, we can practice project management slightly differently. And this exchange is a great testament to that, to be able to see how the diverse nations can come together, work together, and collaborate to bring forward ideas that allow all of us to advance our careers regardless of our location. So I will continue to advocate for the chapter exchange program. I welcome any and or all of you who would like to be a guest on the show to help me promote what you're doing in your chapter. Feel free to contact me, and anything we can do next year to make this continue to be the success it is, I want to be there to help you all out. So thank you so much for allowing me to be part of what you are doing, which is greatness.
Thank you, Joe. That was really nice and kind of you to help us to evangelize this program across the United States and the world. Thank you very much. And with this, we'll move on to Chintan Ojha. He is our Vice President from the PMI Mumbai chapter. He, along with the PMI Mumbai board members, have been instrumental in, reviewing the framework, helping in chapter outreach, and many more. So I would like to, ask him to say a few words about his experience on this journey.
Thanks, Priya. I hope I am audible.
Yeah, you are. Please
Okay,
go
thank
ahead.
you. So PMI Chapter Exchange Program has been a great journey in times of disruption. So while we were getting disrupted, our community got disrupted, our business was disrupted. But this was the event which kept the hope alive. It provided us an opportunity to look beyond borders. So when I say this, earlier we used to represent our trade, the project manager, as a conductor of an orchestra, and that was the old time. In new economy, in a post-COVID era, we have to visualize ourselves as a rugby player. So that is the way the entire trade is shifting, and that is where we need to be more alert on ways to collaborate with each other. We need to find how do we collaborate with each other, how do we maintain, how do we learn from each other, and
Mhm.
that is the need of the moment. Uh, Earlier, we learned crucial conversations, and as a part of our training as a project manager, we were trained how to handle crucial conversation, but the entire economy is getting disrupted. The business models are changing. Technologies, what we use, are changing. Now the world is moving from competition to collaboration, and that is where we need to learn, relearn, and master collaborative conversations. And this is the platform where all of us can collaborate. We can network and we can collaborate with each other. So, all the best to all the participating chapters. We are here to stay. We are here to take this to the next level. Stay tuned for the next wave of PMI Chapter Exchange. I am happy to be on this event, and I wish you all the best. Have a great year ahead. Thank you so much. Thanks, Priya. Back to you.
Thank you, Chintan. And the next supporter that we have is Krishnan Srinivasan. He is the president of PMI Malaysia chapter. So you must be wondering, why is Malaysia here? Because although he is not, his chapter is not participating this year on this platform, but he has been an active promoter of this entire program. And we really appreciate the support that you have provided, Krishnan. Krishnan, over to you to say a few words.
First of all, thank you, Priya, and all the 10 chapters who make up this chapter exchange. I should say I'm embarrassed that I'm not part of the chapter exchange program. Perhaps in the new year, we can look forward to Malaysia being part and parcel of the chapter exchange. I'm glad you actually have this backdrop up there, because it is these values that actually encouraged me to share this event, and I think it's happening on a monthly basis, with my members. And very fortunately in Malaysia, it's not a case of us sending out an email and connecting with our members. We actually have all our members on WhatsApp groups. So it's just a question of copying and pasting into the WhatsApp groups, and the members go out independently and participate. Now, what's attractive about this particular program? It's actually the diversity that it offers. Now, if we all stay locked up in our individual environments, we only know as much as our environments allow us to know. Myself personally, I look upon project management as being the role of being a problem solver. So all of us face problems. We've already spoken about the problems that COVID-19 has brought to us. But I see these sorts of initiatives as being a great step in the right direction to actually solving a problem, rather than hindering us from continuing to learn, from hindering us continuing to network. And I just need to elaborate a little bit on networking. I'm what I would call a serial networker. So my fellow speakers, I've reached out to you. If I'm not already connected to you, please connect with me. It's only in the last couple of weeks I actually just crossed the 8,000 LinkedIn connections. So you know the sorts of activity I am up to in terms of networking. But networking is so important in the world of project management, because if you think about it, traditionally projects are transient in nature. So when are we going to get our next gig? And courtesy of COVID-19, many of us have actually lost our roles. So using this opportunity to build friendships, build professional relationships is extremely important. For that reason, I felt that my members should actually benefit from the opportunity to participate. And what more when it's so-called free of charge? All that you need to do is to put aside some time and prioritize. Listen, I'm going to participate in that event and show up. Learn what you can, participate, get what you can out of it. So that's really what actually triggered me to actually support this actively, Priya. And I wish you luck. I believe this program will grow. It's 10 this year. I would not be surprised if next year at the same time, we're talking 30, 40, 50 chapters participating in this event. Good luck. And I hope, as I said earlier, that Malaysia chapter is part and parcel of this group come this time next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishnan. Yes, and with this, I will, I think Lanka has also joined in. It's Lanka, are you there? Can you hear us? Okay, so maybe not. Okay, so Flavius is the president of PMI Zimbabwe chapter. He's a newest partner in this program, and I would request you to say a few words on this program and the event and your experience about it before we start with the panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Priya. First of all, I'd like to thank the anchor chapters, PMI Mumbai, PMI South Africa, and Czech Republic chapter for coming up with this wonderful PMI chapter exchange program, which surely has enabled us all the way from Zimbabwe to have an opportunity to collaborate, connect with other fellow professionals from all over the world. Indeed, 2020 has been a different year. It has robbed us of many things, but it has also given us opportunities like the one that we're having now, opportunity to connect with the other projects from all over the globe. And here we are, Zimbabwe chapter member, new you find so that we enjoy this program. So, to my fellow Zimbabwe chapter members, I say please take advantage of this program, support, attend, learn from other professionals from other corners, and also share something. There's also a skill to share with us. This is how we grow the profession. This is how we also personally develop as a professional. So indeed, we're looking forward to this event that we have today. We want to see how we can lead our team, we can influence, how we can inspire others so that we are successful in our projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Flavius, and we expect to have this collaboration even much more stronger in 2021. Look forward to your support. All right, so if Lanka, are you in there yet? All right. So just this afternoon, we were awarded the Bright Collaboration Award just because of this PMI Chapter Exchange program. And I wanted to congratulate everyone who is there on this program for the contributions that you have made and the achievement that we have got. So Bright Collaboration Award for 2020 was awarded by PMI Asia Pacific Chapter Development in Pathway Leaders Gala Award ceremony today afternoon. So thank you everyone for your support, and we look forward to such support even in the future. Thank you. So with this, we'll move on to our panel discussion of the day: influence, inspire, and lead. And Flavius, thank you for those 4 words that you have already provided. And before we start the session, we would like to give a big thank you to Damike, who has prepared this beautiful creative and many more creatives. And just today, we've created one role in the Chapter Exchange program known as a creative champion. So Damike, if you can say hi to everyone, that would be great.
Hi all, thank you, Priya. So glad to see many chapters and hope to see more chapters and yeah. And hoping to collaborate and hoping to contribute to the program. And thank you.
Thank you, Damike. And I will call out for Lanka once more before we move on to the speaker introduction. Lanka, if it's there. Yes. Hi, Lanka.
Yeah. Sorry we had some technical issues. We finally resumed everything. So hello, everyone. I'm very happy to see you and all the participants and all the representatives of chapters. This is indeed a great effort and great success that we achieved through this program. So I really hope that you will enjoy this discussion. I am one of the representatives of the anchor chapters from Czech Republic, Vice Presidents for Programs.
Thank you, Lanka. And with this, we will start with the panel discussion. So our first panel of the day is Peter Ryan. He is the Managing Director Europe from Aspira. And he is also the Director of Membership and Volunteers of PMI Netherlands chapter. Peter leads the international division of leading the global PM and IT consulting. He is Irish, but he is a global citizen. And Peter has been working across continents and countries like Germany, USA, Australia, and now he is based in Netherlands. Peter, if you're there, please say hi to everyone.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you, Peter. And the next speaker that you see on the screen is Chengatai. And he's a growing business leader with engineering and project management aptitude, which progressively develops through self-motivation. That is very good. Positive attitude and education, and founded on more than 10 years of determined hands-on approach. Thank you, Chengatai, for your time and participating in this session. All right, so Chengatai. All right,
Thank you,
so
Priya.
next, yeah, go ahead.
I want to say thank you, Priya, and hi to everyone. Looking forward to fruitful discussions here with you.
Sure. And then we have Pascal from South Africa. Pascal has accumulated around 20 years of professional experience in project management, and he has worked as project manager, project executive, consultant for the delivery of large infrastructure and commercial projects. He served as a national chairman of Project Management South Africa, the largest project management association in South Africa. He is now promoting the application of systems engineering concepts and enhancements to the project lifecycle methodologies. So Pascal, we look forward to hear more about these concepts in this discussion today.
Thanks, Priya, and greeting to everyone. It's great to be here.
Thank you, Pascal. And our fourth panelist is Horia. Horia is joined in from New Zealand today. I don't know what time it is, maybe early morning. And he believes in coaching, mentoring, and about building awareness. And he believes that the art of creating agile enterprise ecosystem requires developing a contagion of curiosity and experimentation. That is really what I believe as well. Curiosity is the mother of invention or innovation. He's an agile coach and mentor, and he has numerous organizations transforming their thinking, organizational actions, habits to achieve better outcomes. Thank you, Horia, for joining us today.
Thank you. I look forward to the session.
Yeah. All right, so we will move on to the discussion now, and of course, there is a feedback link that has been pasted here on the chat window. Please do take the feedback, and while we discuss the questions. So, I will start with Peter, and today we know our projects do not live in isolation. Yeah. And it is actually my projects, I've seen they are moving across boundary of organizations, because we have to coordinate, collaborate with suppliers, vendors, outsource outsourcing companies and even internally within our departments. So how do you influence, how do you bring in that coordination where within the teams or influence the teams over which I don't have any formal authority? So Peter, this was question to you.
Absolutely. Let me give some context on that one. It's an excellent question. Influencing authority is something that is more prevalent now than it was 20 years ago. It's becoming less of a top-down society and more of a collaborative, agile society. And in terms of projects, of course, and we're all project management fans and experts and so on. That's the latest and greatest craze is all about agile and collaboration that way. So absolutely, it's the time to influence without authority. And I think this whole session today, and thank you for arranging it, is going to be us influencing each other, not just us panelists giving our opinion, but you guys, everybody co-designing and shaping what message you get from today. So don't consider me as a super expert or anything like that. I'm just giving my opinion. In terms of how you influence without authority in this day and age is, it's one of those statements that can be a throwaway remark in every model that you see out there, but communication and understanding is a permanent part of this model that I believe in. And I looked at all the different types of ways of influencing without authority, looked at case studies of it in my own experience in life and projects that I've run in agile and classical ways. And that's where you might have seen it on LinkedIn. I mentioned the words champion, servant, leadership. And if you pick those three words apart, that is the description of what I recommend influence without authority is to champion servant leadership. Just for the leaders to do that, it's for everybody to do that. In influencing without authority, everybody should be considered a ally and a leader and an influencer. So don't think of things hierarchically. Think of things as a circle. We're all together in this thing together. If you pick apart those three words very quickly, you might be find it talk a lot. I start off with servant in the servant leadership side of things. I think requires collaborative generosity. So being a servant and being able to influence starts off between serving others' needs as well as your own. And collaborative generosity is a great phrase that I've seen out there used, and it basically means give and you will receive. The next one in the servant side of it would be about likability. And they often say if you're doing a job interview, you're going to get the job or you're not get the job if you're likable. That's a key influencer. And being involved in a team and getting on well with the team, likability is the glue that holds that team together individually and as a team. So you need to, as a likable factor, you need to look at similarities between you and your other peers or teammates or leaders. You need to give compliments. You need to be genuine and authentic. So that's the servant side of it in brief. And in terms of leadership, I think about credibility. I think about experience. I think about qualifications. I think about ethics, and I think about consistency. So to be credible as a person, as a leader, and influence your peers and others, you need to be credible. You can't be fake. The final one the penultimate one is around, again, around leadership, is expert knowledge. I think you've got to, as a leader, be able to give something back to your audience. You can't just be a really likable, generous, credible person in general. You need to be specifically helpful with your expert knowledge. And sometimes you just have to withdraw and say, look, I don't have anything expert to say in that area, and that's fine. And you in other areas. But if you're trying to influence, the most successful you can be in influencing is where you find, in listening and understanding somebody else's needs, you find inside yourself, in your theory or your practice, something smart to give back to them as an individual. And my final one is around champion, which was the first word in my list there, champion, servant leadership. And championing that, so as being a leader in that environment where you're trying to influence without authority, you're trying to inspire. Well, championing is that kind of captain of the team who's calling out, who's cheering everyone along. And how do you do that smartly? Well, you call out good practices of people influencing each other. You let the quiet person in the room speak. You make sure that these case studies and examples of great influencing and servant leadership are called out and shown in different ways. So it becomes viral in your community. Thank you, Peter. And I really like the fact that you said that you have to be credible. So if you don't know something, say, yes, I'm not an expert in it. Because we've seen leaders are expected to know everything, which is, of course, not true. And we as followers or our team members should ensure that, we treat our leaders as humans. And leaders also come across as humans. If you are vulnerable, you create that trust, and I think that works very well. And just one point on that, you'd have heard of the hippo effect, the highest paid person in the room, the hippo effect, that people get incorrectly if you're the top of a hierarchy that you also know everything, which is not the case. I think influential a senior leader can be is by turning around and saying, I don't know something, and I show my vulnerability, arguably in a traditional sense, my vulnerability, and say, I don't know, but maybe you know. And then that's a great way for a senior leader to influence other leaders in the organization. Say, just because I'm the highest paid person in the room does not mean I know the answer to this question. I depend on us as a team and other experts in the room. Sure. Yes, so with this, I move on to Pascal. Pascal, you said nurture team interactions. So I would like you to elaborate more on this. How do you influence your teams over which you don't have authority by nurturing team interactions?
Yes, thanks, Priya. Please allow me first to add to what Peter. Of course. I do lead to have the competence, to have the ability of integrity. We also need to understand what we need. It falls in the ambit of management, which is administrative and their tasks. But you project to something the novel was not true. So it's not a post that you someone that the chapter need lead because people always stop or more situation that it because change. But back this is what you mean. You will nurture because when we get it you come project.
It's Pascal, we are not able to hear you well. Your voice is breaking. I think we will move on to Chengatai while you fix your internet connection. So Chengatai can be, I think he has some issue with the internet, some technical issue. So, so let's move on to Chengatai now. And Chengatai, please share your secret of influencing other team members. You said motivate or shared vision. Yes. So, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Priya, for the opportunity to speak here. And I like what has already been said, that we are here to influence each other in our way of thinking, which will probably carry forward in our projects, in our endeavors. When I say we need to share the vision, I mean, before you can influence people, you need to show them, you need to convince them the direction in which we are going. What is the benefit of the project we are going to be undertaking? how is it going to be useful to the whole organization? Now, when everyone is convinced that we really need this project to be, and then yes, you can now start influencing your colleagues, be it from other departments or across your supply chain. So sharing the vision is very important, and with you sharing, you need to give clarity. Clarity is very important. You need to be able to exemplify how it will benefit. What are the objectives? How are we going to measure them? Such that once people are convinced that yes, we will benefit from this project, you won't have to push or anyone to be able to deliver or do their work. So everyone will have a motivation. So hence I say you really need to motivate a shared vision across the organization. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also truly believe that if we have a shared vision and a goal, which is common to everyone, we will definitely be aligned. But however, it plays a project manager or a leader needs to play an important role in ensuring that everyone understands that vision. So thank you, Chengatai, for those words of wisdom. We will move on to Horia now. Horia, what about your the secret? You said keep becoming awesome. And that was an awesome secret, and I really loved it. I would ask you to share a few, words about it.
Right. I believe that we have too much emphasis in the world on individual contribution, on asking people, so tell me, how are you much better than your fellow teammates? And as a result, we forget that great experience, great results come from us working better together. So keep becoming awesome is a message for everyone in the team and for becoming great as teams. Humans are fantastic social creatures, and we achieve magnificent civilizations when we collaborate really well together. So becoming awesome can't be a solo affair, and particularly in the realm of project management and leadership, it can never be a solo adventure. It's not, I, the glorious product leader, have done it all by myself. That's not how it can possibly work. Yes. So therefore, becoming awesome is a challenge for the whole collaboration community, for the whole team. And therefore, when we derive our sense of satisfaction out of this joint contribution, then all of us can start to behave in a leader-leader fashion, rather than just expecting that, there is one leader and the rest of us, we're going to have to be followers. No, I believe all of us can practice leadership skills, and we can develop and become awesome through our actions step by step, day after day.
Yep. Thank you very much for that awesome tip, Horia. I will go back to Pascal now to see whether he is back and, he can complete his insight into the secret that he had already shared. Pascal, are you still there?
I'm here. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, much better, Pascal.
Much better. Okay, thank you. I was saying that we need leadership, because in project management, especially in large infrastructure projects, we take teams or we take situations from point A and move them to point B. We agent of change, and change happens better under proper leadership. Otherwise, there'll be no order in that transition and you can create chaos. But coming back to the issue of, can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Coming back to the issue of why we should nurture project interaction among team members. Is we need to look at the project team as a human system. We have agents that need to interact, agents from different disciplines, from different entities that need to interact. And it is precisely that interaction that produces the deliverables or the outcome of the project. The more interaction we have and the more positive we keep those interactions, the better the outcome of the project. Therefore, in terms of leadership, the project manager has the duty to connect himself to as many people or agents as possible and try to positively influence them towards the achievement of the project objectives. That's what I can say at this stage.
Sure. Thank you, Pascal, for those words of wisdom. Pierre, do we have any question on the chat?
Yes, we actually do have some questions. The first question that we have now is this one. So leaders need to take best from team, which may include experts. What is the difference between successful manager and leader?
Yeah, so Peter, would you take a shot at this?
I see Pascal wants to answer that one.
Yep. Go ahead.
I defer to Pascal.
Okay, you want to pass?
No, thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter. I think the role of the leader in this context, the role of a coach for any sporting team, it's relatively easy to hire good players, good athletes. The key here is how do you get them to play together so you can win the game. Right. A great player doesn't make you win the game. It's a great team made up of players. Some of them great, some of them maybe average, but getting them to work together, that wins you the game. So the role of the leader is to achieve that.
Sure. And I think no one better than Maria can add more to this, because I think that's what he is doing now, successfully leading organizations to get them together, changing the culture and moving them in the common direction. Horia, would you want to share some experience? What do you think is the difference between a manager and a leader? That's a question.
Right. This is a tender topic, and it has to do with the general interpretation of the terms. Historically, Peter Drucker had a much broader and deeper vision for the word manager than we have today. Unfortunately, what we've had a flip. The manager was intended as a true champion of the business that included the aspects of leadership. Now, in the past 20 to 30 years, we've seen the rise of Dilbert cartoons, where the pointy-haired boss is the subject of ridicule, and therefore manager has become a word of insult almost. Ah, you're a manager, right? Right? Yes, it has. Therein lies the challenge. We don't want it to, and yet it has, right? None of us can look at the Dilbert cartoon and think, oh, I'm such a great manager, the pointy-haired boss. It doesn't happen, right? So, to me, what's much more important is not so much, should I be a manager, should I be a leader? What matters is, what's all this leadership about? It is about me caring about what you need, me caring about understanding what is meaningful to you, and caring enough about it to do something for it, such that when you get my contribution, you go, wow, that was so fantastic. You were so thoughtful. You gave me value. You showed me consideration, respect, attention. And when all of us do this, it becomes an amazing spiral of contribution towards the better. That's what a virtuous cycle of collaboration is. I have a dream for a world in which our work experience routine routinely feels very much like that, where you wake up in the morning and you go, "What? Hey, we're going to do some amazing stuff today," as opposed to, "Oh no, I have to go to work again. And that manager, and that sort of." Yeah, so a lot more positivity in the workplace, please. And if you don't have much to be really positive about, then at least learn how to practice neutrality. Focus on the day. Don't give in to negativity. It's too contagious, too tempting, and too sapping for the human spirit. Let's focus on what is within our sphere of influence, our sphere of action, day after day, and strive to get even a fraction of a percent better every day. And that's going to make a huge impact overall over time.
Sure. And there is another question from Meenu Bhatt, and I think Meenu is saying, talking about is Ubuntu the way? Oh no, she's saying, do you foresee an impact on methods of conflict resolution for a horizontal team organization? So I think you touched upon this a little, so that's why the question goes to you, Haria. So, and we can move back to the other panelist.
Right. I'm sorry. So
yeah. The question is, do you foresee an impact on methods of conflict resolution for a horizontal team or organization?
Right. So essentially, the idea is I don't really want conflict resolution. I want conflict navigation. Conflict resolution is I take a gun, boom, I shoot you, you're dead, I've resolved the conflict. That is not an effective way of conflict resolution. What we want is to learn from one another and actually achieve win-win outcomes. It's not about debate. It's about parallel thinking. It's about exploring things from multiple perspectives and creating a better alternative than my thought is the best. You know nothing, I know everything, or vice versa. It's by seeing it together, by understanding it together, then we notice a better way forward for all of us. So it's not so much, is it a vertical, is it a horizontal organization? Is it, how do we actually see the world in a manner that makes it a win-win? How do we go beyond a zero-sum perspective to say, oh, if I have more, you have less? No, we can actually, all of us, enjoy more by contributing freely together.
Yeah, and what I learned from leaders, like, what my mentors, is that conflict is good. We require conflict because through conflict, you come up with creative ideas. So
that's
it's
right.
about navigating the conflict, as you rightly said. So with this, what is your, how do you see an impact on conflict resolution for a horizontal organization or a team? Chengatai, over to you.
Thank you, Priya.
Yeah, sure.
In my view, conflict resolution, first, really, it is all about understanding the conflict itself. Do we really have a conflict? What is the conflict? Taking out personalities out of the problem. If the problem is going to divert us or block us from achieving our goal, then if everyone was motivated or understanding the vision of the organization, then we must not have a problem in conflict resolution, because everyone understands that this is now disturbing our goal. So to me, what is important is the clarity of the conflict or of the problem, taking out personalities, saying, oh, it is because so-and-so did this, hence we are in this problem, and having the shared vision re-emphasized to say, we wanted to build a road. This road is going there. So if we are having a problem, how are we going to go around it? Who do we need on deck? How many hands do we need? Who else is not on the team? So taking out personalities, clarity of the problem, and keeping on to the shared vision will help you resolve conflict better.
Sure. Peter, do you have conflict in your teams, and what do you think the impact is on a horizontal team or an organization?
Well, I'm Irish, so I'd probably make a joke and say we never have any conflict, but no, I think that I just saw a question talk about the productive conflict and different kinds of conflict, and this is something that our organization itself in Aspire we're looking at recently, and it was interesting. We had a meeting and it ended a little bit early, and it was usually a long operations review of every activity in the company and all the projects we're doing and so on and so forth. And we were left a bit kind of surprised, firstly, that we finished early. And then there was a comment from a couple of us that said that seemed strangely normal and quiet, or maybe you could call it abnormal, that it was quiet in terms of there was no conflict. So it was the first meeting that went exactly to agenda. It ticked all the boxes. We got our actions done. We were on our targets. It seemed to be perfect, but then the observation at the end tore the heart out of that enthusiasm, which said we weren't being productively conflicting, and that's a key point. We changed the model that could look like it was working to change the whole orientation of the meeting, so that we kept some of the great practices we had, but we gave areas of chewy topics, as they say, where we would raise difficult situations where we knew conflict would arise. So I think you could go into that in some more depth about what's productive conflict and positive conflict versus negative conflict. So I won't go into that exactly now. But the other point I wanted to make when you brought in the word organization was we're an organization that's been growing rapidly. We double in size every few years, and it brings the need for other layers of management, not to go back to the other word. And leadership is more prevalent than ever. We were discussing a senior role in the organization, and they said, "Oh, we don't have somebody sitting in that director role, and what should we do about it?" And there was a interesting proposal. Would we go with person A, person B, or option C? And option C was an agile leadership approach, whereby we would experiment for a period of time, for a year, without a hierarchical leader in that position, and we as a leadership team would take on that role as leaders. And what does that mean in practical terms? In practical terms, we would report, and there would be like 6 of us in a team, to the CEO. And and he's got other divisions. So it doesn't mean that he's suddenly got a lot more work to do. No, he should be establishing the reality, or we should be establishing the reality whereby the 6 of us are the leader of that team. And you can take that through to conflict resolution, agreeing strategic roadmaps, doing performance reviews, 360, and all those kinds of things. You reimagine an organization where you can productively take out that layer and say, we're an agile leadership team. How do we do every single one of the things that manager or leader above us would have done? How do we work out, the 6 of us, to do that together, for each other, with each other? And that to me is a lesson learned from Agile. And I think it then reinforces, going back to Aria's point, you can't take out a gun as the director. I top down, I've made the decision, bang, 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 this is what's going to happen. We, the 6 of us, now have to make every decision together within reason. We have individual leadership strengths and weaknesses, and we're in this thing together. So it's an experiment. To be honest, we're only early days into it, but it's exciting.
Yeah, and are you seeing positive results out of it, Peter? I know it's just few months that you are doing trying.
Yeah, to be honest, it's I suppose for some people in the room, we exposed our fears and risks and worries about it. We were very open, and we were very open about saying different personalities don't work well together, and we said that to each other in the room and things like that. And what we do is, in our company, we do with our clients, we did with ourselves, which was a pre-mortem. So we talk about post-mortems or retrospectives in project management terms, right? We do a pre-mortem. We predicted the future and said, in a negative way, right? We said, let's say we all hate each other after 6 months. We all want to resign or start shooting each other, whatever it is. Why would that have occurred? And let's talk about that up front. And it takes a lot of bravery and boldness, but actually the bottom line is it wasn't about the bottom line financially. It actually became an emotional conversation where in about an hour and a half, we suddenly became so much closer from a personal, professional perspective than we ever had when we had a manager standing in the room. We already started exposing ourselves in terms of this is I wouldn't be very good at leading, and I depend on you, Russell, much more here. Or this is where you and I, Jim, might not get on very well, and how are we going to resolve that going forward? It was people who were coaching us and helping us. So it was inspiring. It's improved our productivity, our flexibility, and our problem resolution, to name but three.
Sure. We will move on to Pascal. Pascal, what is your take on conflict resolution in a horizontal organization? Pascal, can you hear us? Okay, we might. Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Pascal. Okay, Pascal, did we do it? Okay.
You said
go ahead.
It's good, but it starts from a place where we understand the difference between conflict and city. Conflict is looking at things or approaching things from a different perspective. It talks about multiplicity of minds leading to a single voice. We come from different point of view, we debate, and we get to one voice. That's the good conflict that we need to nurture and foster. We need that kind of conflict everywhere, but more so when we have an horizontal organization. We need it more. And that conflict, unless we have positive conflict, we can lead ourselves to a place where we have lack of commitment. Because if people refrain from committing, from saying anything for fear of conflict, they will end up not committing to anything. And that is very bad for the project, for any organization. You will also see that conflict avoidance in a negative sense arises from a place of mistrust, the lack of trust. I don't want to make myself vulnerable to you. I don't want you to know about my weaknesses. I don't want you to know as much how far do I do not know about the topic. Therefore, I will keep my voice to myself. I'll keep my opinion to myself. I will not commit. And therefore, the whole organization will suffer. I have experience of people who were so mistrusting of each other that you will see, and it's a common syndrome. Before the meeting, people are free to discuss the opinion. Once the meeting starts, no one wants to say anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to make himself vulnerable either way. And then after the meeting, people go in the corridor and they restart the discussion freely, because then they don't feel vulnerable to anything. No one can hold them to what they might have said or not said. Yeah. So we need to understand that conflict can be positive if we don't see it as adversity. We see it as sharing of different perspective, different opinion, different takes on things.
Sure. Okay, thank you, Pascal, for that the insight into the conflict. Pierre, do we have any other question right now on the Q&A?
Yes, we do. We have a very good question that's next. How can we influence high-level senior management that do not understand project management and tend to jump into project execution without a proper planning?
Peter, Ryan, would you want to answer that? How do you manage the senior management who does not understand project management?
Well, I've got personal experience of this times. In my 23 years or something project managing, I've been both a consultant in this space and the kind of leader of a project or large portfolio. And I worked in a large organization, I won't name it, and I've never seen such a low score of maturity and productivity in terms of delivering projects successfully. They had about 1 in 10 projects being successfully, and that was quite shocking. So of course I took the job as their head of projects because I thought, well, surely I can improve that figure. It's pretty low. But what I did to go in there, I did an assessment to look at why it was that the figures were so low, and they were running so many projects, and all of them are going either over budget or over schedule and burning resources and things like that. And I looked at it very broadly from all different perspectives, whether what it might be, and I identified that it's a common one when you look at some of the PMI statistics that are out there, and the factor to me is more prevalent into the PMI statistics in failure than it is the science around what we do. It's more the art in what we do, right? And my personal experience is that those leaders at the very, very senior level, the executive board level, again, going back to what I said earlier on, suffer the hippo effect. They're the highest paid people in the room. They're experts at something, and sometimes they think they're experts at everything. Those individuals on side, if you deliver large transformations, portfolios, and projects across the organization, is critical. Down in that organization, the number one reason that projects were not being delivered successfully was down to about 7 leaders in an executive team who overstepped their mark, did not understand project management as a profession, and didn't see it as actually a profession. They saw it as glorified administration. So essentially what I had to do was work with, it's proper stakeholder management, I suppose, at one level, is you every individual as an individual, right? They do have group think. There are trends that you can see in leaders at times and culture in an organization. But I broke it down by knowing that it was this team was selecting projects incorrectly, resourcing them incorrectly, not giving adequate resources to the PM function and other functions, which was hampering the success, but it was emanating from that point. So I had to take each one of those 7 as individuals and listen to them, understand them. What's in it for me? Why are things failing? What do you want to achieve out of these projects? And then gently educate them, in my opinions, about how project management can influence project success. You don't want to take them from 0 to hero from overnight. You don't want to insult them. You want to see them as they are leaders. There's a reason they're leaders. You want to meet each one where they are today and listen to them, influence them by listening to them, by giving them facts like the things I talked about earlier on: collaborative generosity, likability. All these words come in there. Credibility is huge. And credibility is probably the one where I had to put the foot down hardest and really show them the statistics. If I'm speaking to the finance controller or the CFO, I've got to talk about euros, dollars. I've got to talk about productivity. I've got to talk about saving money. If I'm talking to the core business people who are trying to create the widgets the best they can, I'm trying to make a comparison. I said, you're really good at building these widgets day in, day out, but you're not very good at innovating these widgets, and you accept failure on projects, but you don't seem to accept failure on your day-to-day core business, and try to make comparisons to what's important to them to what's important in terms of delivering those projects. And essentially, at the end of the day, you don't have to achieve them to be experts in project management or agile or whatever it is. You need to win their hearts and minds in terms of the outcomes that they're trying to achieve, the empowerment that they need to give to others, the trust they've got to say is this is a real discipline or area of work that we've got to let go, and we've got to trust in those individuals that they can deliver something amazing for our organization.
Cool. So I have gone through this similar experience as well, Peter, and I truly believe that once you gain their trust, you can educate them. You can, tell them what is right, what is wrong, and keep the project forward. I have gone through this section as well. So with this, I will move.
Can I just add one point to it there? Because what I meant to say is that there's an individual side of it that was really important, but there was a collective group think happening in that leadership team. in fact, from the CEO potentially. And what I found is that I really had to, it sounded all lovely and fluffy what I did there, but I actually had to really take a lot of risks, calculated risks. I had to be brave. I had to say to them that they were part of the problem, not the solution, but in a good way. And I had to draw red lines and say, look, project management has red lines, and you can bend, but you can't break. And it was at one point I had to say to the CEO, I said, this is a red line. I must insist that we go down this route. We've done everything that we've expected out of these conversations, and I must have this red line. And what happened was, you can hear me okay? I was worried that I was lost.
Yeah, you are breaking, but
yeah.
So I think while you get, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the final point was I had to throw in this not throwaway remark is, if this red line cannot be achieved, then you're better off removing me from my position and having someone else do it. You have to stand up for your principles. Well.
So Pascal, I will move on to you again. What do you do with, the senior executives who don't understand project management? How did you manage this in your experience?
Yeah, senior management, what they want strategy to be implemented. They want benefit realized. And
they want money, right? Revenue.
They want revenue. They want the benefit. It could be revenue. It could be more customers. It could be anything. They want the benefit realized. Our duty is not to just as I won't check myself into a plumber to understand how the plumber is fixing my kitchen. That it's the translation of the project that gives, or of the strategy to projects, which, if successfully executed, will give them the benefits that they want. This is the nexus that we need to have them catch. They don't always see it that way. I had a youngster come to me and say, I don't know what to do with our executives. They regularly call me to their meetings, and every time I pitch up there, the moment I start speaking, I can see that each one of them is dialing out. Am I still coming up okay?
Yeah,
Is
you're
my voice
okay.
right?
Yeah.
So he said to me, they always invite me to these exco meetings, but every time I pitch up there and I start speaking, I could see from their faces that one after the other, they're dialing out of my speech. Then I asked him, what do you tell them? He says, I tell them about how many bricks we've laid, how many deliveries we've had, and so on. He bores them with details. That's not what we should do with executives. We need to have a different speech with them to say, this is your strategy, and I understand your strategy. To support it, this is what I'm doing for you to get the benefits. The discussion needs to be at that level. Taking them any lower than that might create problem. Of course, it will be great one day if our executives will also understand project management. But as it is, they generally don't. And even if they do understand project management, their concern is more about the strategy, and their concern is more about benefit realization. And our speech, our discourse to them needs to strike at that level.
Benefit realization. Okay.
Yes.
I got you.
That's what we sell to them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you sell to your higher level of C-suite executives? Benefit realization? Or do you change their culture, mindset? I don't know. What do you do there?
Okay. Well, the thing is, I cannot change people. Only people can change themselves. I am not a practitioner of magic. I do not know how to use a magic wand or fairy dust. I don't have these things. All I can do is engage in dialogue. All I can do is attempt to inspire people to care about forming a win-win outcome. Because it's not just about having outputs, it's about noticing what is the impact of our behaviors. It's about us helping one another. Because ultimately, very few people wake up in the morning and go, "Mwahaha, I want to ruin it for everybody today." Right? Most people want to do well together. And when we can help people to notice, do you notice that if you behave in this way, if you continue with this habit, this is providing this, and this challenge, that then starts to open up the door for curiosity, for creativity, to say, oh, okay, I noticed that. Now, what do we do instead? What do we replace it with? And this is where then creativity comes in to say, how do we make it into a win-win? We are addicted as a society, as a culture, to the instant win. Take the blue pill and wonderful things will happen. In terms of professionalism and achievement, we don't have instant results. We still have to rely on discipline and the deliberate practice of improving skill. So it's got to be about dialogue. It's got to be about step-by-step creativity and improvement.
Well said. Dialogue and creativity improvement, and go step by step. Chengatai, what is your experience in managing your C-suite executives who don't understand project management at all?
Thank you, Priya. It's an interesting question, I would say, because I still have those C-suite managers who one would say they don't know about project management. But what I can say is the most important thing to realize is that the fact that they are in your organization in the high up, they want success. They have a strategy, they have a vision that is spread across the organization. So you are not going to turn them into project managers. In fact, if you were going to turn them into project managers, then you won't have a job yourself because they can now manage the project themselves. So what you need to do is to check their priorities. What are they on about? What do they care most about within the organization? Speak in their language. If it is a C-suite accountant, talk about the numbers. How have you done in terms of the budget as opposed to the bricks that Pascal was talking about? So what is more important is to know what motivates them, what they care about within the organization, and be able to speak within their realms. So in summary, I would say what will be of importance is to make sure that as a problem solver, you are showing that you have solved the problems, or how far are you in you solving the problem? Because earlier on, one speaker said project managers are problem solvers. I want to add on and say we are the enablers of the process of solving problems, because we start from understanding the problem right up to planning and executing the solution to the problem. So if you are going speaking to the managers or the C-suite, you need to tell them how far you have gone with solving the problems. Do you need more resources? How far are you from success? Otherwise, you don't really need to bring them back, put them down to your level of a project manager. I think that's all I have.
Yeah, so awesome.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, sure, go ahead, Pascal.
Just like Chengatai said, I've personally given up. I've made presentation to EXCO. I've made presentation to board members. I've given up doing Gantt charts, WBS, and such like when I talk to them. It doesn't feature in my slides. I talk about strategy, how strategy links to my project, and what am I going to give them back? What is of concern to them, and what support I need from them to succeed so that they can succeed. I don't bring them to the level of the Gantt charts.
Yeah, speaking there.
Yeah, Chengatai, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I was just emphasizing that you need to speak in their language, speak at their level, show them that you are towing the line in their vision only. You'll get the results that you want.
Right. And Chengata, you said a very good, you did touch upon a good point. You said, good, they don't understand project management. Otherwise, we will not have our jobs, right? That is very good. And we need to keep their language. We have to understand their priority. And just as we motivate our teams, we have to see what is motivating them and, align along with them. So that those are very good thoughts that are coming up. Pierre, do we have any other question or chat right now?
Yes, there's just one that just arrived, which is very interesting. It's a very simple question, but I guess it's going to be complicated to answer. How do you inspire people?
How do
as
you
simple
inspire?
as that. How do you inspire people?
People, okay.
Yes.
Foria, so I will go with you. How do you inspire people?
In simplest terms, first and foremost, I believe we need to care.
Yeah.
As great leaders, we have to understand that it's not about us, it's about the people we serve. Success and satisfaction in life isn't about how much I have myself achieved. Success comes from what we are achieving together. So when you feel that I'm not doing this for myself, I'm not doing this to say, me big gorilla, me achieve everything. This is, we are really shining together. We are doing really well together. That makes a huge difference. Then people notice, oh, okay, we are supported, we are respected, we are nurtured, we are valued. So of course we want to participate in these things. Of course we are getting inspired. We're mirroring that behavior. We are becoming better together.
Good. Becoming better together and keep becoming awesome. Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. I think I will move on to Pascal now for the answer to this question. How do you inspire people?
Anecdote. That US president, I can't remember his name, who went to NASA and asked a janitor, what is your job here? The janitor turned back and said, I am sending someone to the moon.
Wow.
He did not mention that he's cutting grass or tending the flowers. He said, I'm sending a man to the moon. It means that janitor and everyone else in that organization were sold a vision, a dream, before they were given work instructions. Sometimes we rush to give people work instructions and they feel it as if we imposing on them. We need to first send them the vision. This is what we're trying to achieve. Like Oria said, we need to achieve this. And Kennedy, it was President Kennedy, he said, we, America, must send someone to the moon and bring him back. So the janitor said, I'm part of that we, America. Therefore, when I fix my flowers, I am sending someone to the moon. It starts with that dream, that vision that we need to convey to the team members, and then the work instructions on a daily basis. How do we move them towards that dream or the fulfillment of the dream will then happen? And in so doing, I will join what Oria said. We need to model the pursuit of that vision ourselves. We don't send them while we stay behind. We lead from the front. Here's the vision. Follow me as I'm following the vision. That's what I will say.
Good, good, very nice. I am really sold on this vision that I'm sending someone to the moon. It's very good. With this, I will move on to Chengatai. We just have a few more minutes, just 1 minute. What is your, take on inspiring people?
I think the panelists are very good inspirers because I've already been inspired.
I am inspired, truly.
Yes. So in a nutshell, I think the inspiration comes from the trust that you have in your leaders. And so for you to be able to inspire another, they need to be comfortable with you and trusting you. Yes. So in other words, you know, Simon Sinek says leaders eat last. So if someone knows that my leader, he has my back, and we share this vision together, I'm sure they'll have enough motivation and enough inspiration to achieve the same goals that you are agreed upon. So yes, make people comfortable and build trust around yourself. It will be easier to inspire anyone once you have that.
Sure. And last but not the least, Peter, we just have 2 more minutes. So if you can summarize, how do you inspire people?
Well, I think my three fellows panelists really put it very well there, but I'm still going to talk. I can only compliment what they said in terms of it starts with, as Pascal was saying, that exciting vision. And how do you get that? Well, it goes back to what we talked about earlier on about understanding people, relating to them, and thinking about what's in it for them, so that vision of going to the moon does land with those people. But to really land a message and you need to be able to communicate it. Look at how my panelists just spoke. My fellow panelists just spoke there. Horia speaking, bouncing off the chair with passion and drive and belief. People get that belief and passion, as Pascal was talking about the janitor and Chengetai was bringing it together. That enthusiasm and passion really makes a difference because people believe it, it relates to it, and you try to make it comparable to something else. And I'll tell you a story. We in our organization were faced with setting up a new business unit that was scoring was getting no revenue for 6 months. We had set it up. We said we must get revenue out of this that's going to break even by the end of the year, and we had nothing after 6 months. And people kept on looking at spreadsheets and numbers and strategies and getting bored and demoralized. What I did is I put up in front of them. I got rid of that, and just like what Pascal was saying, get rid of those Gantt charts, get rid of those scientific things. I put up a picture of a soccer field, and I put a picture of all the things that we were doing and transposed it onto a soccer pitch and said, we're doing the work that's bringing us up towards the goal, and we're taking good shots towards the goal. And look at how many great shots we've taken. Yes, we've failed, but we're getting better and better every day. And now we're crowded around the goal. We are going to score a goal. We're doing everything right. Believe in each other. You are the people standing around the goal. We as a team are going to score that goal together. And that visual, when I spoke to my colleagues and said, my God, I'm speaking in front of a lot of people today. What story do I tell? And they just said, tell a true story. This is the story that inspired us as your colleagues. And that's the one that I put in front of them. And we said, we're going to score a goal. And in fact, we scored many very soon after that. And now it's a thing of the past.
So visualize your vision. I think that's what comes out, because you're talking about a goal, you're talking about a football ground. Very nice. Okay, so I think we will have to end here because we're just running out of time. And with this, I will hand over to Kosam to wrap up today's session. Kosam, if you can quickly wrap up today's session.
Thanks so much, Priya. I think this was quite an animated kind of conversation that we had, and we had a very good panel there with lots of wisdom. I'll try and summarize what they said, but it's going to be very difficult. Right. So mostly it's we were talking about leadership without authority, which is like what our lament is as a profession. We normally lead without profession. So what do we do in order to make this work for us? So there were words like empowerment, trust, there was shared vision and belief, passion, empowerment. All those words come into focus. Then there was a question of conflict, which some thought, well, we shouldn't be talking about this conflict resolution, but conflict navigation. And then there was, and then we should take out the personal, the personal out of the conflict and make it an impersonal kind of resolution. And we should focus on the positive. Then there was a discussion about teams, which is where everyone is gravitating towards. So we are starting off with a hierarchical kind of structure, and ideally what we want to achieve is a leaderless team where everyone is a leader. And then we'll have positive sharing of opinions. And then there was talk about how to manage upwards. The discussion centered around there's need for tough conversations that we need to have, and we need to be principled about it, and we need to have clarity of role. I'll add one thing there in terms of managing upwards is, well, what I personally found productive was if you can identify one of the management team, surely there is one person there who has some form of good sense that you can actually reach out to and persuade them to be a project sponsor. Then you have a buy-in into the project, into the leadership team, and then you create that relationship and nurture it. All right. Then there was talk about the need to have dialogue. Since you cannot change people. Then rounding off, it was more or less around using common language for communication. So you don't need to use all that project management speak, because nobody else understands it outside our circle. So use the language that your audience understands and tell a story to do that, so that they can actually relate to the story rather than to what you want to tell them. Instead of all those Gantt charts and nice whatever visions and stuff, those are for you to understand, but not for them to understand.
Sure.
So that's more or less briefly what I can surmise from this conversation.
Well,
Thanks very much, Priya. Back to you.
Yeah, it's a very well summarized, Kosam, and thank you for summarizing even for us. Everyone, please do not forget to take the feedback here. And the link is on the chat window. Plus, you can scan the QR code to take this forward. And now I will request our President Bharat Bhagat to say a vote of thanks for 2 minutes, and we will wrap up. And happy holidays. Yeah. Go ahead. What is it? Be fast.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Mr. Kosam. And I really appreciate one thing, Mr. Peter, Mr. Pintagai, yes, and a very intelligent level of discussion on the human relationship in this subject, where one of the aspects that people want to be leader, people are not, they develop the leadership, but then developing the leadership, they need to influence the people, either as an individual, they will influence, or in a group, they will influence the group. And by way of influencing, we have to remember one thing. Here, we are going to influence without authority. That is very, very difficult. And that is amazing here of all these discussions learning have done is not easy. So I also want to take a risk of summarizing again for all these things. But the first thing for influencing, you have to inspire them. Once they get inspired, then they start following me. They try to find a leader in me. That is a wonderful thing. And who is the leader? How leadership is defined by PMI and PMI. That the people who generally work in absence of the person, then it says, who is the leader? See, Gandhi was the leader. Churchill was the leader. And Nehru was the leader. Mandela was the leader. Even despite that, he was there. He was being guided. Without his presence, people were following him. So there is a leadership. But this leadership has come because of the influence and inspiration that given by those great leaders. And then a lot of discussions about topics like conflict resolutions has come up. Another day. the senior management not understand project management because topic by itself the Priya can take in the next year. So let me thank you very much for giving us a very, very learned discussion and very understanding, very clear, thoughtful discussion which on behalf of all the audience here, on behalf of PMI Untitled Chapter, I thank you very much. Let me thank you very much on my behalf also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Bharat sir. Thank you, Bharat sir. And happy holidays from PMI Chapter Exchange. This was the last event of the season for 2020. We will be back in 2021. February 2021. So till then, we'll be in touch over social media, and don't forget to take the feedback as the link has been pasted on the chat window. Please take the feedback. Your feedback is our source of inspiration. Thank you very much. So see you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Priya.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, my fellow fantastic panelists.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Sonia. Thanks, everyone else.
Sure. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Are we going?